Hey everybody, Alex Kozora, SteelersDepot.com, back to do another video and analysis of the Steelers. Yet again, 24-21 loss to the Oakland Raiders. You can probably hear the frustration and the just annoyance of a third straight loss against Oakland, a team that you were more than capable of beating. Not that any game in the NFL is easy, but I think I'll make this video relatively short because, I mean, what am I going to say that you don't already know? I mean, I don't have to go on a 20-minute rant about how bad things look because you already know it. But to start with the offense, let's just dive right in. Um, I don't even know where to begin. I know I said start with the offense. I don't know where I want to start. I want to start with the run game, though, because, well, I did not expect them to really rely on the run much this game, and I didn't expect the run game to be effective. I didn't expect it to struggle the way that it did. With the way the offensive line has played and played so well, and the Raiders, 31st, I think, ranked defense overall, or rush defense overall. I figured you would have more success to give you some semblance of an effective run game when you needed it. But end of the day, you ran the ball 19 times or 40 yards. It's barely more than 2 yards a pop with a touchdown. Jalen Samuels is a guy that looks natural and comfortable as a receiver, but as a runner, he's got miles and miles to go, and definitely someone that's too heavy right now. He's going to have to drop some weight going from year one to year two, just in the way that Le'Veon Bell is done, James Conner's done. For him to be an effective guy, he just does not have the burst right now to win the edge, and he's not. He's got some power, but it just isn't explosive enough downhill to be super effective there too. And thought Ridley had a disappointing day, 5 carries for 4 yards, did have the touchdown. I don't think the run lanes were great for him, but I just felt like he was still a little too much dancing, and he's definitely a one-cut downhill kind of guy. So the fact that you became entirely one-dimensional, despite leading for most of this game, or a good chunk of this game, against the Raiders, really poorly ranked run defense that was without one of their best interior guys, Maurice Hurst, it is obviously disappointing. But, when you threw the football, you had general success. Juju, again, one of the bright spots of this game. I thought there were really two big bright spots of this game, Juju and TJ Watt. But, yeah, Juju's ability to make those tough plays, high degree difficulty catches, just continues to impress and amaze. Bailed out Ben on some, maybe not best passes today. Dobbs had one that was high that he came down with early in the second half. But, you didn't get enough, obviously, from this offense. And a lot of it reflects back on coaching, so I guess I'll kind of bounce right into that because, obviously, coaching was really poor across the board today. Sometimes it gets overblown and misconstrued, and you got to look at the individual element and all the variables, but you don't have to look too hard today. I don't know what the decision making was and the process was in keeping Ben on the sidelines until the Steelers got behind, for the next to last drive as things turned out. If Ben has the medical clearance to go back in, as soon as that happens, he goes back in. And maybe that didn't happen right away. Tomlin seemed to allude to that, but he wasn't quite clear on exactly when Ben was medically cleared, but he said he could have come in a series or two before. So it definitely was before the team decided to put him in. And I know the Steelers were in the lead, and their thinking was, okay, let's just try to get out of here with a win. We don't want to put Ben at further risk for injury because we got New England and New Orleans coming up. But you're only up 14-10 against Oakland with no run game, Josh Dobbs, and a defense that was not playing particularly well. It was Oakland beating themselves. So I don't know how you justify assuming that you're going to hang on to that lead, because I think everybody else, including myself, felt like it was a matter of when, not a matter of if, that the Oakland Raiders were going to take the lead in this one, because nothing positive was really happening for the Steelers offensively or defensively. It was just Oakland backing themselves up and hurting themselves, and not being able to finish drives or get drives started because of those penalties. So I don't know what that was, and Tomlin gave. I didn't think Tomlin could have a worse excuse than he did last week about why linebackers got on Keenan Allen, but he topped himself impressively somehow by saying that we didn't want to put Dobbs into the game, or excuse me, didn't want to put Ben into the game for Dobbs because they were in the rhythm and flow with things. Well, your second half offense before Ben came in was a punt, downs, pick, punt. That's not. Where's the rhythm? Where's the flow? None of that. And the fact that when Dobbs came in, they had him working almost exclusively under center until that final drive that he played. I don't know. Maybe there's a good reason for that. Maybe that's what he'd been really doing during practice and during the season. But this is an offense that works 75% of the time out of shotgun. I mean, it's what every offense does. So I don't know why you suddenly put Dobbs under center when he's not a rookie. He's taking snaps out of shotgun. That's what he did in the preseason. It's nothing new. So I don't know why you suddenly make him play almost exclusively under center and not get him in the gun where he can kind of, read the defense better and just something he's more comfortable with. So I don't know what the reasoning is there. Maybe they have a reason for it, but it seemed weird. And then the last drive he was in, you put him in shotgun, you got a couple positive plays out of it, although it ended in a punt. So weird one there for sure on obviously a terrible day. But yeah, handling Ben's decision, putting him in, keeping him out, seemed like a terrible job. When he's ready, he's in, no question. He's Ben. He's a Hall of Famer. He's your guy, and you saw the difference when he came in. The offense clicked all over. So I don't know. That was baffling. Even more baffling, like I said, than Tomlin's comments about Keenan Allen. And Fiedner had a couple weird play calls. I mean, I guess we don't have to get into all of it right now. But yeah, couple weird ones from Fiedner, some tosses on third down to Samuels to the boundary. It's like, what are you doing? It's not going to work. Just some weird stuff overall. I didn't have a problem with the fourth down play call though, the one that was the completion to Vance McDonald. I didn't have a problem with that. I thought it was a fine play call. Hats off to Oakland for making a play, but I didn't have a problem with the decision or the play call, just for what it's worth there. Defensively, I mean, it's the same stuff. What do you need me to say? Just bad. Just awful. The secondary has to have the worst ball skills in the NFL. I mean, I don't watch every team super closely. I know some secondaries have really struggled, like KC, Cincy, Tampa Bay, Atlanta, but there's just no ball skills in this defense. No one can make a play on the football. And, Morgan Burnett, excuse me, this is just summing up a video of me sounding like crap. Morgan Burnett coming in, and Tomlin saying last week, oh, you didn't have Burnett, you didn't have Sutton. Well, I promise Burnett would have not made much of a difference, whether he was matched up on Keenan Allen or whatever. Just, he's gone after this season. He has to be. There's just no one in the secondary that can make a play. You have Mike Hilton, you have Sean Davis dropping interceptions. Joe Hayden somehow misses a slant to Jordy Nelson along near the goal line. I don't know how that happened, but that resulted in another touchdown a play or two later. And then Burnett just missing time and time again. That throw down the seam to Seth Roberts. I mean, he's got good coverage. No idea where the football's at. Can't make a play. Can't finish on it. Just ridiculous. And I mean, even the breakup he had on Jared Cook on the corner out in the end zone, was it on third and goal before the fourth and goal touchdown of Derek Carrier, was probably holding. So they didn't call it, and that's fine. And Burnett made the play. And that's all well and good. But no ball skills from this defense. The only turnover you got was Derek Carr just forgetting how to grip the football, which, I mean, hey, I'll take it. I was happy. I don't really care how you get the turnover, but that's where this defense is at, where they just have to rely on sheer luck and sheer incompetency on a single play from the opposing team to force a turnover. So they got 3 defensive turnovers, not including special teams, for the last 5 games. They're just not creating enough splash, and you just knew that Oakland was going to eventually start hitting their plays, and really they just worked the middle of the field. I'm sure if you look at Derek Carr's spray chart of where passes were completed, they did throw a couple fades to the outside, but the vast majority of it was between the numbers. Steelers were not aligning with inside leverage to take those in-breaking routes away, the slants and the crossers and stuff like that. They were just letting Carr have it all game long for some reason and never adjusted to it. So, couldn't stop Jared Cook. Got some plays to Nelson, some guys, some backup tight ends hurting you. I mean, all the tight ends hurt you. Cook, obviously. Lee Smith catches a touchdown, which I think was very similar to the Bears game last year where they hit some of those tight ends leaking from behind. I'll have to go back and check that. Then Derek Carrier runs this weird pivot route, and Mike Hilton falls down somehow, and I don't think he's even going to make a play even if he stays on his feet. So just everyone hurting you. Defense just isn't good enough. You get some splash. I thought TJ Watt had a really good game overall. The defensive line I thought did okay overall. I guess I can't be too mad about it, but in an era where teams are throwing the football better and more effectively and more often than ever before, your secondary just isn't there. You got to make big changes this offseason in a lot of places, and that's the frustrating part because it's going to be tough to fix in one offseason, and this issue is going to persist, I'm sure. But you got to find some playmakers, guys that can attack the football, because they just don't have it. I mean, yeah, Mike Hilton has some ability, Joe Hayden has some ability, but it's not consistent enough. It's not splashy enough. It's just bad. So that's where that's at. I want to be careful talking about firings and stuff like that. I know that's a pretty hot button topic right now. I want to be careful of that because we are just coming off a game and emotions are running high, and you don't want to say, at least from my point of view, I don't want to say anything that I'm back out on when I wake up in the morning, or if I watch this game more. Not to excuse any of the problems from this game, because certainly I'm not going to defend. I promise I won't feel any better about Tomlin or Butler or Feetner after this game, but I do want to just pump the brakes on that stuff, because you don't want to say anything dumb and go, "Oh, that was dumb," and now you have to backtrack or own it or whatever the case is. But you guys know my thoughts on some of these coaches, Keith Butler in particular, and I promise that hasn't changed after this game. Special teams, obviously the big story here is Chris Boswell. I can't say for sure that's going to happen, but I am guessing and pretty much expecting that Chris Boswell has played his last game as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And I base that off of what Mike Tomlin said in his post-game presser. For several weeks now, whenever Bos has a rough game or misses an extra point or a field goal or whatever the case, Tomlin immediately defends Boswell and says, "Hey, this guy's gotten me out of stadiums before, got a lot of trust in him." He'll say almost those words, something to that effect. Today, I forget the exact phrasing, but just said, disappointing performance, basically is what he said about Boswell. And then he was asked point blank, I think Jeremy Fowler asked him, I don't remember for sure. But anyway, Tomlin was asked, do you need a new kicker? Basically saying, are you going to change kickers? And Tomlin wouldn't defend Boswell and just said, I said what I'm going to say. Disappointing performance, something to that effect. And that, obviously, that vote of no confidence, I think, tells you all you need to know based off of the way Tomlin's responded in the past. So, is that a guarantee a change will be made? No, probably not. They got to try bringing guys with tryouts, and it's got to look good and all that. And there's obviously financial implications for cutting Boswell right after him getting his new deal. But those are decisions that probably have to be made. And I feel for Boswell. I still think he has the ability and the potential to be a good kicker. It's such a weird position, such a difficult position. The field was a mess, and no, that's not going to be an excuse because yes, both teams have to play on it. I get that, and you can't use those things as excuses. But I just think he's a good dude that's helped his team out time and time again in past years. He's just in a funk right now, and that's how it goes for a lot of kickers, where they just get into this habit of missing kicks, and one stacks on another, and it weighs on you, and it's a mental position, and your ability to the leash that most kickers get is pretty short. So expect a change there. Can't guarantee it, but I do expect this is the last game Chris Boswell will ever kick as a Pittsburgh Steeler. So I think I've talked long enough. I probably went longer than what I wanted to, but just bad all around. Again, I look at the defense. I look at the lack of splash plays. I look at the lack of ball skills there. Offensively, poor coaching in terms of bringing men into the game. Inability for other guys to make some plays. Obviously Dobbs struggled in a tough environment, though. I will say that the run game wasn't nearly good enough. Should have been better. I'm not expecting a great performance, but I was expecting a better. And some really bad coaching. So I think what I've said about Keith Butler in the past kind of applies to the whole group now, at least as things sit here today, is that the talent isn't enough to overcome coaching, and the coaching isn't enough to overcome the talent and to make up for one side or the other when it falters. That's where this team's at. So although Baltimore lost in OT today against Kansas City, and the Steelers are still in first place in the AFC North, and then you have New England, New Orleans, and Cincy to round things out. Obviously, New England and New Orleans are going to be really tough to win. I don't even know the scenario where that happens unless it's a crazy, 45, 40 shootout kind of victory. I don't know how this defense is going to make plays to slow teams down. I just don't see it. So, you very well could be looking at 8-7-1 to finish this year. Is that going to be good enough to win the North? Probably not, because I don't know exactly what Baltimore's schedule is the rest of the way. They play Cleveland week 17 because they have to. And I don't know what their other two games are, but they're a good team. They're a better coach team, I think, right now. They're more disciplined. They have a better defense, and they're finding their footing on offense. And they have probably a little bit better identity on offense. So that's where it's at. It's not looking good. But if they can, basically, Steelers have to win one of New England or New Orleans and then beat Cincy. If you do that, I think you can win the North. If you can't, probably not going to happen. So let me know your thoughts below. I'm sure you have a lot to say. Rant away, vent it out, as I've said before. Use this as your forum. And if you'd be so kind, follow us on Steelers Depot throughout the week to try to talk about this some more. I would appreciate the support. So thank you guys so much for listening, whether you're doing so on YouTube, Steelers Depot, or follow me on Twitter at Alex_Kozora. Again, thank you guys for listening, and we'll talk to you soon.